Hello, this is Steve from Beaute's Leatherworks, and today's project is we're going to work on some boots. No, not those boots. This old beast. This is my 8-year-old Alden Indy boots, which I've resold 3 times, and it's been through hell and back. And it's time to show them some love. This was a 270-degree welt, and then I converted it to 360, put a wider heel stance for some more comfort. Now, while these are out of commission, I've been wearing these boots right here. These are Gorilla boots. I think they're made in Canada. This is a vintage pair. An eBay seller was selling these, and I picked a pair up for $100. I mean, these are solid boots. Now, the heel was a little bit higher. And so I took the top lift off, lowered the base, and put another top lift on. But they're still too high for me, right? I'm trying to break these in. And so far, you know, when I'm on my feet a couple of hours, they start kind of giving me aches a little bit. Meanwhile, this one, I'll be on my feet 10, 15 hours. No problem whatsoever. They're like gloves. So that's why we're going to bring them back a little bit. We've got Hamilton, Allen Edmond. Okay, this is the Yanko, very nice, made in Spain. These are the Daltons. I'm sure you guys know about those. Allen Edmond Daltons. There's 2 pairs of those. This one is a Ron Ryder Chelsea boot. It's a nice boot also. This is not Goodyear welted. This is, or is it Goodyear welted? I thought this was a Rapid Blake stitched. I think this is a Rapid Blake stitched. These are my Alden blue suede. Very nice boots. And another pair of Alden. So as you can see, I like boots, and it's time to show this one some love. I wanted to wear the other ones while this was out of commission, like I said, but problem is that it's taken a while for this boot, the Gorilla boot, to break in. And I gotta have comfortable feet, you know, I gotta have comfortable shoes, comfortable feet. And I'm on my feet all day. And when I'm wearing these, no problem whatsoever. So basically we're gonna take them all apart. We're gonna resole them, we're gonna re-welt them. We're gonna change the eyelets and hooks to solid brass silver color. And I'm gonna try to see if I can, this just popped into my head. This is the last that I have, okay? Which is the shape of that. In the near future, I will be making a pair out of blue shell cordovan, okay? But now, basically, we're gonna redo these. And this is a 10.5 last, okay? This one is a size 11. It was a little bit big, I ordered it, and it's a little bit too big on my feet. But again, I've kind of put some insoles in there, and kind of adjusted a little bit to fit my feet. So maybe it might not be a bad idea once I have it apart, put the last in there and then resize them a little bit. We'll see what happens. Let me take it apart and we'll see what we can do from that. All right, let's get started. All right, so first things first, I'm gonna have to get a measurement of my foot. Because what we want that to be the same size. Just a rough idea. Now, I do wear thick socks with these. Put some pressure on it. Looks like we're about 25 centimeters. Now, I'm not a shoemaker, but I watch a lot of videos like you guys. At 36. So we're going to take those measurements, make sure the width this is about 24.5. So we're going to have to build this up on the sides a little bit. These are just the 10 pieces of leather right here. We're just going to glue on the sides of the last. Oh, for those of you who don't know, this is a last. This is the shape of my foot. It seems to be big. It's a 10.5 D. Okay. But again, this is a general size, and basically you can adjust, modify to whatever your foot shape is. And that's what we're doing. We're making it a little bit wider because I got some wide feet. All right, let's continue. I just went through 3 minutes of explaining to you guys while I was taking the boot apart of what I was doing, and the damn thing wasn't recording. I'm such an amateur. Okay, here we go. But it's all apart already. I took the sole off. I took the welt off. Damn, such a nice explanation too. Okay. Basically, we're going to disassemble the shoe, the boot, okay? And we're going to make a pattern out of it so I can make a pair of new boots for myself out of shell cordovan, blue shell cordovan. Okay, this is the story behind this repair or restoration, whatever you want to call it. So it's twofold. One, I get to have my babies back, and these are the most comfortable boots I've ever owned. I'm on my feet all day, and no problem whatsoever as far as comfort level goes. Now, with the other boot that I'd like to make, I think though before I make it out of the shell cordovan, I would like to make a mock-up boot, okay? Because I mean, I've never made boots before. I'm not a shoemaker or boot maker. I'm far from it. I'm probably making all sorts of mistakes along the way. And because the shell leather cost me about $1,500, just the leather itself, okay? So I don't want to make any mistakes. So I think by me making a pair, just a mock-up pair, that if there's any mistakes, I'll learn along the way. And so I won't make them on the shell cordovan one. So besides, these are my Indy boots. These I've had for about 8 years. This is the 4th time of me doing repairs to them, but nothing this extensive. I mean, this is completely disassembling the entire boot and redoing it again. So, but it's a solid boot, right? Even though the uppers are pretty bad, you see, it's okay. I mean, this repair is nothing to do with bringing the uppers and making them look brand new. It's totally not. Now, we're going to take care of the uppers, but, you know, some people are saying, hey, man, you shouldn't let your shoes go like that. You should be ashamed of yourself being in that business living like that. Well, what you guys don't know, that I do clean, polish, and condition my boots often. But since I put them through a lot of abuse, they look like that. But structurally, they're pretty good. They're not bad. So I can bring them back. And again, the uppers are not going to look brand new. They're going to have scratches, and they're going to have scratches and cuts. You know, just a little imperfections, stuff like that. It's no problem. They're work boots. It's no problem at all. So that's the reason for me doing this. And I figured, you know, I'd bring you guys along the way, because there's a lot of guys out there who love Alden boots, just like me. And I figured that I'll show you guys exactly what I'm doing and what the boot looks like, and all sorts of stuff. Now there's a lot of people who are asking I should do some, like, what do you call that? You know, when you compare the boot types, boot models and stuff like that, different companies. I don't do that. It's just not me, you know. There's a lot of guys out there who do that. I just don't do that. I just do repairs. Comparisons, what do you call that? You call that something. I'll remember when I don't need to remember it. Now when the boot is being assembled, they staple the hell out of the sides. These little staples. How no, I hate these little staples. I don't know if you guys will see them. Where are they? You can't see it, but they're sharp as hell. And you know, if you don't pull it out, right there. You see that? Oh my God. They'll prick you. So once we cut this off, we're going to see what's inside. How I would use the inside. It's not as bad as I thought it was. We're going to replace that front piece right there. All right, let's continue. I know it looks rough, but we can bring it back. Have I let you guys down before? sucker's in there, man. Well, it's been years since the lining and the heel counter have been taken apart, so it's going to be a bit to take it out of the shoe. All right, let's continue. Wow. I'm going to put this back together. Oh, Lord. All right, as you guys can see, this was the toe counter. Now, my right foot, I always kneel down, and I always bend my toe on the right foot. This is what's left of the toe counter after all that. Not much left. We'll replace that. So, we're going to replace these two pieces right here. We're going to keep everything the same in the back, just kind of clean them up and moisturize the hell out of them. Replace this front piece here. This is nothing here. This is like a little rope, right? That gets stitched on to kind of give that hump right there on the thread pattern of the toe mock. I'm going to get rid of that. The canvas seems to be in pretty good shape here. It's not bad, even though it looks rough, but it's not bad. The heel counter is not in bad shape. We're going to keep that. And I think everything else is okay. And once we remove the hooks, speed hooks is what they're called, we're going to sand the surface a little bit. And we're going to re-dye the uppers. Condition them, polish them up. Change these laces right here. Change this thread right here to black thread. We're going to hand stitch this back together. And we're making progress. All right, let's continue. Now we've got the lining on the uppers all glued up and drying. Now we get to focus on the footbed. So that's a 360 welt. Remember, it starts from here and goes all the way around to the other side. We're going to make it into a 270 welt, I mean. Okay, let's start over. That's a 270 welt. That goes from here, from the side of the ankle bone, to the toe, to the other side of the ankle bone. We're going to do 360, which goes all the way around. It's trash. Close, but no cigar. All right, let's continue. Now, I went back and forth in my head whether I'd put a new foot base on it or not. I decided against it. It's not in bad shape, but it's kind of contoured to the shape of my foot. So I want to kind of keep that. If I put a new one in, then I'd have to break them in again. You know, I kind of like the shape it's got. So, plus they're not in bad shape. They're pretty good. We're going to keep it. We are gluing the gemming now. The gemming is basically like a piece of canvas, okay? And it's glued to the footbed. Most of the Goodyear constructed shoes and boots are done this way. This is basically the traditional way. Now, there are better ways of doing it, which is called a hold fast. They take a footbed, similar like I just showed you, and they literally stitch, they open grooves in it. They literally stitch that to the uppers and the welt. I don't know if I have one around here somewhere to show you. Oh, let's see what I got. Yes, I do prepare for my videos ahead of time, so I don't make you wait like this. I'll show you later. All right, let's continue. There was a small stitch loose right here, so I decided to take that off. In the back of the seam there, so it's come apart, so I'm going to re-stitch that back together and then close that back. Oh, you guys see the brown color? That's what the boot looked like. Yeah, it started its life as a brown boot. Then after a while I couldn't save the uppers anymore, so I decided to dye them black. All right, let's continue. All right, we stitched that gap right there. Close that up. Just put a little glue here so we can stitch this piece back. Well, the glue we just put on there just so it doesn't move while we're stitching it. So you don't really need too much of it, just a little bit. Beautiful. Gave it a little bit of like a curvature there, right? Just gives you more ankle support. Now you've got a lot of canvas in here, all the way around the boot, which is kind of cool. It gives it nice support of the upper, so they don't kind of slouch down over time. Even though after a lot of abuse, you guys can see kind of the folds in it, right? It's normal for that to happen, so cool. Yeah, they look rough, but they'll be fine once they get done, I promise you. Let's continue. All right, so now we've got the disassembly complete. We're going to sand the uppers a little bit to try to smooth that out. And we're going to dye it. Then we're going to stitch the mock toe, add the speed hooks, and then try to reassemble the lining. All right, let's continue. Now, saddle stitched this before. Saddle stitching is 2 threads basically going in and out like this. I just decided to use 1 thread this time. Now you can do any color you want here, right? I've done some indies with blue thread before, and most of them come with whiter, like off-white. You can do whatever color you want. I figured these are work boots. They're not going to be really, you know, used for show, more for comfort and work. So I figured I'd do black. So we're getting there. Slowly but surely. Pliers don't get caught in them. Alright, let's continue. Alright, so we've got our front lining in. The boot is like that. Okay. It's a new piece. We've got these pieces in, where the eyelets and the hooks go. Now we're just going to stitch those on, and then we can reassemble the lining back together to the shoe. A lot of people ask me what kind of machine this is. This is a post machine. Okay. It's got a top and bottom feed roller. Okay. Like my Yamada behind me has this bottom feed. I'm sorry, it has a different bottom feed. This one has a roller foot bottom feed. See, it's got a roller foot right there. All right, and then this top feed right here also helps move the leather forward and backward. The Yamada does not have a top feed roller foot, just a regular roller foot. So this is much better, but I'm still kind of getting used to this. This is electronic, and I'm just kind of getting used to this machine. It's not, I like my Yamada, but you know, this gives that much cleaner, easier to stitch. So it's not too bad. Stitch this top piece on here. And that's it. Let me show you guys what this is. This is a So Pro. You guys see that? Model number also? 1595 DL. That's a cool machine. Reinforce those areas with some canvas. Now the manufacturer had that already on there, but they were kind of frayed a little bit, and so I replaced them. So they do reinforce that area behind the hooks. Eyelets have it too. Well, maybe not. It's a little behind the eyelets. The hooks get a lot of stress on there, so all right, she is coming along. she be. We'll stitch that together and then we'll start reassembling. Let's continue. Now lately I've been doing the hooks and eyelet conversion to solid to solid brass. Okay. On mine I wanted to do silver, but it's still brass, but it's silver. I'm gonna do one to show you guys. I'm not going to show you all of them because it's just repetitious, same thing over and over again. So we'll do one. What I used to do before, I used to have my speed hooks, right? These are solid speed hooks. Very sturdy. Much better than what the manufacturer puts on. So I used to simply just put it through the hole and then press it down. Okay. Lately, I've been kind of reinforcing that. What I'm doing, I'm getting an eyelet. Okay. Putting that in first. And then putting my speed hooks through it. Like that. What that's doing is that's adding a nice structural base for those speed hooks. Now, speed hooks are being pulled and tugged at a lot. There's a lot of structural issues there. So this is basically going to give it a nice support. So let's do the eyelet real quick. Okay. And we'll put that through. All right, I'll show you guys the pinning machine on that also, and then I'll continue to do the rest. Let's continue. So this is a revolving machine. Basically, you can switch the base, switch the top to whatever you want, okay? Now we're going to do an eyelet. There's a couple of different settings for it. Okay, now once that's in, we take the speed hook, insert it into the eyelet. Okay, change the top setting. I'm sorry, the bottom setting, because the bottom's got to be the speed hook die. See, that goes just in there, just like that. What this is in here. It opens up like a flower, basically. And the speed hook is in. Now you got nice solid base as a washer. That speed hook is not going anywhere. All right, let's continue. Now the eyelets are a little bit smaller than the speed hook eyelets. It's not necessary to be that big because you don't need that large of an eyelet for the laces to go through. And these are the small ones here. Now we get to set the machine to smaller eyelet setting. And we will go. Now the speed hooks, the leather piece covers the back of the speed hooks. Now some manufacturers keep that exposed. It's a little bit easier to do that way rather than putting the speed hooks on there and stitching everything together. So what they'll do is they'll stitch everything and then put the speed hooks and expose the back. Well, sometimes that scratches the tongue area right there, which is not really good for the boot, you know. So I like them covered up like this. Slowly but surely it's getting there. I mean, the hardest part, I shouldn't really say the hardest part, but this is a little bit time consuming doing it this way. All right, let's continue. This is basically stretching the lining over the last. And once we put the toe counter in, then we can stretch this over the last also to give it some shape. So we're getting there slowly. Now this is Celastic is what it's called, right? You heat it up and basically you form the toe counter along with the heel counter. This is the simplest way to make a toe counter with this material. Now the quality shoemakers will use leather and they'll spend so much time shaping that, sanding that, refining the shape. I mean, incredible how much time that goes into it. This is the simplest way of doing toe counters for a production shoe, which basically I'm doing, so that's why I use that. Could I have used leather? Of course. But I'm not really experienced in that just yet. Besides, I want to get these done and wear them. All right, let's continue. All right, it's getting there, slowly but surely. Now, you see how much gap there is right here? So that's when you adjust your last, okay? The measurement that you take around the heel. So this has got to be maybe, the front part right here is nice. You see that? It's about maybe an inch, not 3/4 of an inch apart. This needs to be the same width as that, okay? So if I were on the second part when I'm making it, that last definitely needs to be adjusted where it should be shaved off a little bit, so this can come a little bit closer. So just minor stuff, adjustment along the way. It's a learning curve. I mean, it's nothing that I've trained for. So we're getting there. All right, let's continue. So what we were stitching was the vertical part of the split welt. The vertical part meaning that piece right there. As far as I know, there aren't repair shop who are doing it this way. Alden's have that. Now that's just structurally, it's just not structural. It's just there for looks, right? But I think it adds to the look of it. This is a stand, last stand. You guys can see that, right? It's a small one. It's a tabletop last stand where you got the hole on the last and it goes right there. And you can work on your shoes. But the problem is I need one with a jack, like a standing one, you know? So this is just kind of a, well, it's not a makeshift one. It's actually, it's a last stand. But I need one for, basically has a part that comes from here and holds the toe, which is a jack stand, like a stand-up one. Anyway, we're down to the, you know, we're getting there slowly but surely. Now it's time. We're gonna stitch the welt on. Once the welt gets stitched on, you know, the bottom details start. Okay, let's continue.